no one knows how you went more than just you looking at yourself and saying, oh, I could have done that better, I could have done that better. Okay? So keep that in mind. That's a service to you, and it's up for you to come and check out the video. Okay, setting transfer prices. Learning objective 4. So in the first section, let's go through what are we covering today? We're talking about large organisations. What is it about large organisations? People like to join them. Why? Because they want certainty. They get a salary. You can live there for life. You just give yourself to the organisation. Okay? 80 hours a week for your life. All right? You've got your certainty and your life is all planned for you. You have to give up what? Your autonomy. Why? Because most large organisations have what? Lots of, the C word, what is that? Lots of controls. Lots and lots of them. Okay? And many of you may not like those controls. At the first start, yes, you join an organisation, it's great, you're learning a lot, but then after 1 or 2 years, you stop, your learning peters out, you don't get a promotion, but the controls are still there. You still have to turn up at a certain time, you still have to check in, you still have to do a report, you still have to justify this, justify that. Okay? And so you'll leave, you'll go to another organisation, and that will be your life. Congratulations. Okay? So today's lecture is a reality of your future work. Unless you decide to become a renegade. That is, you want to set up your own company, your own startup, and just be different. But then you're giving up certainty. Okay? You can't have your cake and eat it too. Okay, back to the story of your life. Until you do that, I assume that all of you are settled down for working for a large organisation. Congratulations. That large organisation is going to have transfer pricing in some way. It's going to have lots of controls in some way. It's going to have decentralization. How do you know it's decentralized? Because there's going to be different units. They might be revenue centre, they may be cost centre, they may be profit centre, they may be investment centre. Okay? You may get to a stage where you're in one centre, you have to negotiate with another centre. Why? Because you may be doing transfer pricing, not in terms of transferring of intermediate units, but maybe the transferring or the pricing of services between your division and some other division. That's still a form of transfer pricing. Okay? Then we realise that, oh, there's market price. That's great, that's easy. Market price allows you to have complete autonomy because you have full control. There's no, everything is transparent, all right? So you don't have to make up anything, and the market price is the market price, so you don't have to waste time negotiating. But then, negotiation. Why? Because I force you to negotiate. Maybe because we can't sell that motor outside with all that capacity you have, so I force you to transfer it inside. Okay? Or the cost-based transfer prices. I may intervene and say, no, you cannot sell it at $14. $14, 20 plus 20%. And then I force the issue rather than making you to negotiate. Okay? Why would you do one and not the other and the other? Market price and negotiation cost base? Because of one of 4 things. 1, 2, or 3, 4 objectives we are trying to achieve with transfer pricing. What are they? Autonomy. We're trying to motivate the divisions. What else? Performance evaluation. And last one? Goal congruence. We're trying to get one of those 4, or all 4 will be perfect world. But it's impossible to get all 4 all the same. It's impossible to have goal congruence in all 3 and not have autonomy. And have autonomy too. You give autonomy, you may lose goal congruence. Because then you're given less control, you're given more power. And they may go and do what they want to do, and not for the good of the organisation. So there's trade-offs in the different purposes of transfer pricing. Learning objective 4. You can calculate, you've already done a calculation and negotiated. Here are 2 reasons why you want to do transfer pricing between 2 divisions. 2 reasons why. I'm talking about market-based or negotiation, but 2 reasons why it benefits the whole organisation to do it. Number 1, to save distribution costs. So we have board division. They can sell their PCB boards outside, printed circuit boards, or they can sell it to the games division. Okay? If they sell to games division, they can sell it for $2 cheaper. Why? Because they avoid the sales price, the cost of distributing the PC boards through distributors. What's that cost? When you go through a distributor, normally distributors charge you 5%, 10%, 20%, depending on what the product is. And you just ring up the distributor, I'm sorry, the 50,000 items we're going to send this week, no, we're transferring them in-house, we're not going to send it through you. So you suddenly save that distributor cost. That's what we mean. That's a rationale for transferring goods inside the organisation, to avoid that $2 distribution costs, selling costs. That's one reason why. Another reason is to use up excess capacity. You've got excess capacity, then there is no opportunity cost of making extra units and transferring internally. Let me repeat, if you have excess capacity, there is no opportunity cost in making extra units to sell internally. So let's have a look at the example of before negotiation. We have the board division, and I'm CEO, I'm asking the board division to sell PCBs to games division. The external market puts them at $22. So what's the maximum they could sell it to the games division and still make a profit? Or what's the minimum? 22 less what? When board division sells, let me go back. Board division make printed circuit boards, board, printed circuit board. All right? They are selling the boards outside externally for $22. If we sell internally, they save $2. So what is the maximum they could sell it internally and still be not worse off? It would be $22 less the savings. You see, it would be $20. So the range is going to be between $20 and $22. If we sell, when they're selling it externally, it's $22. Sell it internally, they're saving $2. The whole company saves $2 per unit. So the big question about negotiation here is who gets a share of that $2? You with me? Just like you were negotiating, who gets that share of between that $14.20 and the $19? Who gets that share? All right. So if the motor division were very powerful, they could negotiate up to $17, $18, right? If they're not very powerful, they may only just negotiate extra 20 cents or something like that. You with me? All right. Same thing here. They're basically 2 divisions are negotiating over $2. Who shares that $2? So one example could be the internal transfer is $21.10. What is the market price? $22. Why could they sell it for $21.10 and still make money? Because really their price they're getting is, they're not having to pay that $2. They're saving $2. But how much are they passing on to the games division? How much of that saving? They're passing 90 cents onto the games division. You see that? And they're saving $1.10 themselves. You see that? See, the fair situation is $1 each, right? So who's winning in this transfer? Yeah, they're bored. They're getting that extra 10 cents. The other one is getting 10 cents less. You see that? All right? So let me repeat. This internal transfer is saving the company $2 selling price. Okay? Normally, the board is sold externally for $22. I say, no, board, you've got to sell it to games. If they sell it for $21.10, that means they keep pocketing $1.10 out of that $2 saving. 90 cents saving is going to the other division. What about transfer price of 40? Any questions on that? So you can go through that calculation. It's a nice, simple way of understanding the range of negotiation. So a good exam question is you can do the calculation of transfer price, but sometimes we like to trick the students with exam questions and say, okay, what is the range of transfer prices that these two divisions we should work between? And you should be able to do that very, very quickly and work out the range. The range here is between $20 and $22. Okay, $22, the board division is pocketing that total saving. At $20, the board division is giving it all to the games division, halfway. Okay, excess capacity. Plastics make bottles, and there's a special order of 250,000 bottles at 85 cents per bottle, less variable costs, 60 cents, 25 cents a bottle. What is the maximum transfer price that pharmaceuticals will pay? 20 cents, 25, or 40 cents? And what is the minimum that plastics will want to receive? You see? So we have pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals is receiving the product. Okay? Plastics is manufacturing the bottles. Right? Okay. So if we transfer plastics, if we transfer it at 40 cents, plastics is making lots of money. See that? Okay? Sales, less variable expenses, 62,500. If we transfer it at 25 cents, sharing that transfer cost, plastics makes less money. See that? 25,000 as 62,500. And the other division makes more money. Now the other division is break even. So the break even point for this transfer is 25 cents. If plastics transfer more than 25, the division it's transferring to makes a loss. If you do that, what will happen to the other division? What might that division do in this first scenario, pharmaceuticals? What would you do if you were pharmaceuticals? Go outside to the market. How can you charge me 40 cents? I get 25 cents outside. What are you going to do? You choose between each. If your bonus depends on your ROI, what are you going to do? You're going to go to the market, you see? So there's a natural order of things that prevents these transferring divisions not to say it's too high. Okay, it's too high, you're forcing the other division to look outside. Okay. So then we look at transfer price of 20. Now this division is giving up some profit and sharing it with the other division. Transfer price of 15. Now the transferring division is giving up all of the benefits and transferring it to the other division. See that? There are different scenarios in the negotiation. Again, it's between the range of saving by doing internal transfer versus external transfer. Because in this case, the plastics division had excess capacity. They didn't have an opportunity cost for that transfer. So have a look at those two scenarios. Two scenarios, savings of sales and distribution costs, and number two, capacity, when there's excess capacity. Number 5, market-based transfer prices. We talk about that. There's some more information there. How to avoid and making suboptimal divisions when transfer prices are based on full cost plus markup. Right? Keep that in mind. 5, 6, and 7 are learning objectives I want you to pay closer attention to in following up in the lecture notes. And the types of transfer pricing. So there are different methods here. I want to finish with an exercise that's in your textbook, and it comes under number 7. And here are the different transfer pricing methods. The exercise helps to illustrate whether market-based, cost-based, and negotiated aligns these 4 criteria. Remember the 4 criteria? Okay, goal congruence, motivation, performance evaluation, and what you all desire in your first job, right? Autonomy. I understand. Okay, notice that if we do either transfer price, it's not yes to everyone. Okay, so ideally market-based works, but only when markets are competitive. When markets are not competitive, then market-based fails to be useful for evaluating subunit performance, or fails to preserve subunit autonomy. Yes?
The exercise that we did, I would see a conflict in motivation, because like our department would see that, hang on, if we sell them, they already achieved their target, but we need to do extra work to get our target. So why are we doing this work? So me as a manager might quit my job and go to become the manager for an easier department.
Maybe, but part of your decision is if you don't buy from them, you have to buy from external. So you're under pressure situation. You might be under more pressure than this division. Yeah, you're right, but some people choose some divisions over others. Okay? And maybe I don't allow you to change. Unless this person does something bad. And then they have to leave, and then there's an opening, and then you can change. All right? Okay, so then we're getting into some dramatic representations of organisational politics with that. Okay, so this is easy. Cost-based, market-based, negotiate. That's the easy part. The difficult part is just thinking about when do we achieve these different criteria. All right, think about that. In the exam, if you can write about that, then that's sort of like an A grade answer. Normally, in the exam, if you do the transfer pricing calculation, you get a C, C plus, maybe B minus, okay? But if you can talk about how the transfer price achieves or does not achieve particular roles, then you can, that's how you get the full marks on a transfer pricing question. Is that clear on that? So for example, if you, let me skip over this because something that you can look in the textbook. We have disadvantages of negotiated transfer pricing, and it's exactly what those trying to achieve those 4 objectives are about. Okay, performance measures may not work. They may be distorted by negotiation skills of managers. Some managers are good negotiating, some are bad negotiating. Okay. One division manager possessing private information may take advantage of the other divisional manager. And look, I know the example we did in class was very, very quick, but not all of you came up with the same price for a very simple calculation. Okay? So my point is that sometimes it's because some divisions are better at doing the analytics than others, or they have more information, and so they may take advantage of that situation. Okay, so disadvantage of negotiation transfer pricing, where you negotiate and you trim off everything and you're left with nothing. So full cost transfer pricing, full cost plus markup, variable cost plus fixed fee, they are the different types of negotiated transfer pricing. So in the end, what's your decision rule? Here is one rule. Have a look at that, and then you're thinking, oh, okay, that's what's in the textbook. This is a better picture. But let me show you it as an example. This is example, I think page 818. It may not be in the same page in new edition, but I think it's pretty close to 2222. Quest Motors. It's in the back of your chapter, so have a look at that. The multi-divisional company, they purchased most of the airbags. The airbags division, the incremental cost is $90. The division currently working 80% capacity, So therefore they have excess capacity. Great. This is a great transfer pricing scenario. Why? Excess capacity. Okay, so then they can actually do 20% more and then sell that at minimal, just over variable cost, plus whatever their markup, and still make some money. Okay. The current market price is $125 a unit. The purpose of this exercise is, okay, we can do the calculation, all right? The opportunity cost is 0. The airbag division has idle capacity. So the minimum price is going to be $90. No opportunity costs. That's the bottom of the range. So that's equivalent to, similar to the $14.20 for the motor division here. Okay. Now, if you get that right, so you get a C. You get a C for your answer there. Okay. How do you get a B or an A? Well, then you've got to go to number 2. Okay. So the question is, suppose that motors requires that whatever divisions with unused capacity sell products internally, they must do it at the incremental cost. Evaluate the policy using the criteria goal congruence, divisional performance, motivating effort, and preserving autonomy. I want you to be able to think about how that policy affects those 4 criteria. Okay? So that's probably the most difficult part of the transfer pricing area. Okay? Calculation, good. All of you can get that, right? Thinking about the role, whether you're achieving one objective or another, if not all, that's the critical thinking I want you to be able to do. Okay? So the answer to that, do you have the solution? Well, here is one way of thinking quickly about it. I simplify it for you. Okay? Whether a transfer price achieves goal congruence, ask this question: is there excessive capacity? Yes or no? If there is, then it's likely we can achieve goal congruence. And your problem, okay? Next question: is that transfer pricing useful for evaluating division performance? Well, let me ask you: are there fixed costs? Yes or no? If there are, then it's probably going to be useful. Okay. Remember, it's cost plus transfer pricing policy, right? So in the cost plus, you can add in fixed costs to that, taking that into account. Okay. Is there a budgeting element in that policy? Yes or no? If there is, then it's likely it can be useful in motivating management effort. Okay. Next question: is the policy rule-based? That is, here are the rules. You can't go outside of the rules, and those rules are set by me, the CEO, and those rules make sure that I preserve control over you. I've given you decentralized autonomy, but I have control over the pricing that you do between each other. Why? Because I want you to be congruent with me. Okay? I want control over your behavior. So if it's rule-based, it's likely we can achieve division autonomy too. Preserve division autonomy. Okay? But also help improve goal congruence. All right, finally, I think this is obvious what the minimum transfer price is. I should have showed you at the end, but it's funny, showed you at the start, but it's funny the textbook actually puts that near the end. The general guideline for determining minimum transfer price, incremental cost plus opportunity cost of the supply and division. That's why if the supply and division has excess capacity, then you don't have to worry about opportunity cost. Okay, it's really straightforward. But if it doesn't have excess capacity, then you need to bring in the opportunity cost. Okay? And basically that's a summary of today's lecture. I want to finish with one last thing. How many of you have heard of the three-legged stool? I'll show you. So, now this is serious. This is for next week. So see this here. This is for week after next. This is a car made in where? France. France. Our French friends are not here today, but that's all right. Okay, we have 4 wheels in that car, right? It's the first car in the world that allows you to drive with 3 wheels. You can take one of the wheels off at the back and it can still drive along in the way it balanced, because the 2 front wheels are very wide, the back wheels are narrow. You take one off and it's sort of like a tricycle. Not that you want to do that, but people have done it. There's a YouTube video on that. What's my point? The three-legged stool is like the 3 wheels of the car. How do they balance? If you take one more wheel away, the stool will fall over, right? What are those 3 legs? First, decentralize. What are the other 2 legs? They are to do with control. Remember, right at the start, I said, if I decentralize, I've got to do what? I've got to have some control. Okay, as soon as I decentralize, I'm giving you power. I want you to use that power for my benefit. How do I ensure that? Some controls. So the other 2 legs we talk about in 2 weeks' time. They are the legs of performance measurement and rewards. So you've got delegation, measurement, rewards. It's called the three-legged stool. You need to have a balance of those 3 things. If you don't have good measures, if you don't have good rewards, don't decentralize. You see? So all those legs can be very short. That means you don't do any of any, like in a startup firm, like in a brand new firm with the 3 or 4 people. But once the firm starts to get larger and larger and larger and you find you have to decentralize, then you've got to extend the other legs of the stool. That is, you've got to have more measurement, like balanced scorecard, right? Then you've got to have more rewards, because I can't see you all the time. So that finishes the lecture. We went we went a bit long today, but I apologise for that. I hope you got some big picture idea to paint those calculations that you have to do for tutorial exercise. And last of all, happy Easter. Thank you. Thank you.